Or you were just wrong. Bro, I'm
It's a
kidding.
good opinion, but it's wrong.
It can't be wrong. It's an opinion.
It can't be wrong. It's an opinion.
Okay, Kinsey, you just said it's an opinion. Haha.
Can't be wrong. Anyways,
Says it for fact.
I hate that I can't see Kaylin. I feel like I'm talking to like
Sometimes I make faces.
Shut up. You know in the Saw movies where he's like, "We're gonna play again."
Yeah.
I mean, they can't see him.
Like,
That's
I already
how I
made a
feel.
face on the podcast. Mariah was like, I just wanted a quick bite to eat, and I was looking at her with a death stare. I was like, you got
I know, you know, we have those videos of Kaylin watching us on the cameras in her house. So like it feels like she is that man.
Beep, beep, beep. All
Dang,
right, so
well-
what do we do? How do we do the podcast? It's been a while.
You're listening to Post Credit Depression, where we talk about this week's current hyperfixation. My name's Mariah, and my fun fact is I still have nasal congestion, so if I sound like shit, that's why.
My name is Kaylin, and my fun fact is I am a gamer girl. I got a PC now. Woo!
My name's Kinsey, and my fun fact is that I'm going to steal the exact same copy of Kaylin's PC because we copy each other all the time.
Woo!
And I'm a gamer girl too.
Oh my god, today I was just telling Kaylin Kinsey, this guy I work with, this new fucker named Zachary.
Oh my god, the story.
He was talking about video games, and we were all, me, Kaylee, and Megan, talking about video games. And he was like, oh my god, it's so cool that you guys play video games. Because, like, all the girls I know, like, don't play video games. And we are like, oh, that's I literally looked at him, I was like, that's kind of misogynistic, haha. Like, because it wasn't, like, deep cut, but it was kind of there, because it's a man saying it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then he was like, well, all the girls I know play, like, Animal Crossing and this and this. And I was like, those are video games. Those are literal video games. Are you undermining the video games that girls only play? Because that's shitty.
What did you say? What did
Kaylee
you
was like,
say?
yeah.
He just kind of shut his mouth up because he knew he was wrong.
That's right. Shut your mouth up, especially if you're
The
a man.
teacher did that at school, like, to a girl playing Red Dead, which would be, quotation mark, considered not a girl game because you run around as a cowboy even though you can play as a girl. But, you know, you guys can play whatever you want, like boy or girl. And he's like, oh, I didn't know girls played that game. And, like, this liberal arts school classroom full of illustration majors and primarily women, I'll say, like, in the classroom, all fucking cocked their head like the Roblox meme where the head just turns slowly. And he knew to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, good.
And then Janet said, what the fuck did you say?
Honestly, sometimes I just be laughing at this point at the fact that men say certain things like that. I'm like, you gotta be living in under such a rock to still believe such things.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they
Also,
were ever
it's
true.
just undermining, and that's why women can't, like, fucking open their mouth on online platforms. Like, there's videos where, like, a girl will unmute herself for a moment, and then, like, men will just start throwing garbage in their face, like, saying, make me a sandwich, and, like, all this, like, not funny and not creative and not original, like, jokes, but also for why. Like, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's so bad being, like, a female streamer. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now men are just inherently violent and they were gonna require a lot of, like, help to get better.
Yeah, I think it could just take more generations of, like, you know, rinse and repeat and, like, different kinds of parenting.
I thought of something I wanted to say.
Go for it.
Because after Kaylin just said that, I just found out that we are more genetically related to bonobos than chimpanzees. And I don't know if you guys know this, but chimpanzees are aggressive as fuck. And they fight and they kill each other. But
What's a bonobo?
It's also a monkey that looks almost exactly like a chimpanzee, okay? And it lives in groups, just like the chimpanzees. But bonobos are closer to us genetically, and they're matriarchal. So they're only ruled by women, and they're super loving. They have a zero tolerance for violence. And the funny thing is when the men, if any man starts acting up in the pod, they don't necessarily tell him to leave forever. They just don't give him any attention or love. Also, bonobos are one of the only species that have sex for pleasure. So
yeah,
they're
I just found that out when I searched up a bonobo, and, like, the third picture was them having sex, so that was cool.
well, like, to comfort each other, they'll have sex. And there's also lesbian bonobos and all that stuff. But, like, the women
Only
are
lesbian,
so
no gay ones.
I don't know
I
what
have
they're doing.
something to say
Maybe there's
now.
gay ones. I just saw that there were some lesbian ones too. But they're like super loving, and the women, like the men don't even try to get mad with the women. They try to get mad with each other, right? And the women are like, "Oh, hell no. Get the fuck out of here." And
You
then
made me think of something
then
to say now.
the women start fucking the shit out of the nice man to teach the aggressive ones, if you want coochie, you need to be nice. Or
That's
if you
funny.
just want me to hold your hand, you need to be nice. And then eventually, in most cases, I guess the male like calms the fuck down. But it doesn't happen that
Mhm.
often because they're like so loving, like majority of the time. And then they only have children with the nice male bonobos. So then the like kind of genetics go into the next ones.
That's good
So
to
that's
know. Even
basically
though
what
none
we
of our
have to do.
parents are kind, except for my dad.
That's basically what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Anyways, I thought the story made sense, and also it was really cool to find out. Oh, Christians don't want us to find out that we're more related to bonobos because it proves that men aren't above women. Anyways, that was a little tiny excerpt that I read about. I thought was cool.
I have something to say. You made me think of
Yeah?
something. And after this one more thing, we should probably stop talking about monkeys. But in high school, a kid had me fully convinced that the existence of humanzees existed. He's like, like ligers and mules. He's like, humanzees. And I was like, how did they make them? No. And he had me fully convinced. And I was like Googling it and I couldn't find it. And I was like, thank God.
Damn, Kaylin.
I felt so bad for this kid. I was like, nobody's going to love him.
Nobody's gonna love him. Damn.
Why my dad calling me? I'm not answering.
Yeah, tell him we're
Oh, you're
busy.
We're at work.
Yep. So, Kinsey,
Hmm?
what are you sharing with us this week?
This
Born.
week. I wish it was born. This week I'm sharing with you Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, which is the anime I've been talking about the last several episodes.
And if you were
Did
to
you see that I titled the studio Apple Fairy Sugar Tale because you and I were making fun of how long the title was?
Oh, no, I was going to say, if you asked me any day before this week, Kinsey, can you repeat what I would call it, like, every single time?
I don't it was funny. She would say
Sugar
like
Apple Fairy Plum Princess shit.
yes, yeah, I couldn't remember. You thought I was going to remember it. Do I remember anything? But yes, Kaylin would say Sugar Apple Fairy Plum Princess or something, or Sugar Apple Plum Fairy Princess.
I told Kinsey they should just get rid of the last word. Just call it Sugar Apple Fairy.
Yeah, even then it's a little long, but it's still like tolerable. And for such a good anime, I thought it was kind of ridiculous to have such a
I could do
stupid
Sugar Apple
ass
Fairy.
name. Like the name I thought was so dumb. I like the Sugar Apple. Do something with Sugar Apple because they make Sugar Apple confections. So
Yeah, it's an original part of the show.
So anyways, yeah. Goofy title, but we're gonna move past that because it's phenomenal. So guys, what did you think about I'm gonna ask you what you thought about each character, okay? What did you think about Anne? What was your opinion about Anne?
A child.
A child. She was like a typical like anime girl, like I can do it, even though she was drawn with like thighs the size of my pinky finger. She was determined at all times.
I think sometimes she puts her craft before herself, and it reminds me of a lot of young artists. Like, they kind of will sacrifice themselves a lot. They sacrifice their time for free, sacrifice their health, their energy, themselves, in order to reach a goal. And so I think they wrote that well. I feel like that can be relatable to some people. It's not healthy, but
I was in love with the fact that the story was about an artist and it didn't feel like such a cliche story, but it also felt relatable in several ways. Like Kaylin just said about putting your craft before yourself. I think that's a really good topic that any show or movie that is about an artist should always try to tap into because it's like a very common thing between any kind of artist. But it just felt like more interesting. I feel like a lot of the time in anime especially, or any fantasy book, I'm talking to you, Caitlin, about Alcatar. When somebody is an artist, they make it so cliche. Like, it feels like I'm reading, like, some fucking process.
Feels like Barbie and Rapunzel where she takes her brush and like the sparkles just happen.
Like, they're more so enthralled or, like, romanticizing what an artist is. Kind of like, I don't know, a kind of woman, you know?
Almost like, I'm a reader. I'm an avid reader.
And I don't like that when I was younger. When I was younger, I obviously used to eat that up. Like when I was like 12, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm like romanticize myself as an artist." But I don't like it now, and I really liked how they didn't do that for this show. She was
Yeah,
just
it's
a
very
really
much
hard worker.
craftsmanship, and also I enjoy that this because when you hear the word sugar apple fairy plum princess, which is my own version of the title, but anyways, when you hear it, you think really girly anime, which it's definitely like a cutesy romantic like one, but in the world building, it's a male dominated industry, which a lot of art industries actually are male dominated, and before women could even go and pursue art, it was a male dominated industry. One of my favorite artists. Oh my god, I'm such an asshole for not remembering her name right now. I'm just tired from work, guys. I'll have to tag it in at the end of the show. Um, it was from like an older time period before women could go to art school and probably could vote. And the only reason she got to pursue her arts is because her father loved her and he basically bought her way into education, art education. And instead of getting to like paint people, because like men would paint like nude women and nude men, it was like, just that's art, the figure, right? Women couldn't though because that's like a little too taboo. So she would go and paint animals and horses, and like she has some of the best like bulls and dogs and horse paintings ever. And it was just like inspiring that this woman, I mean, she had a loving father that like kind of bought her way into it, but like she still went after it, like, and she still did it in a male dominated world. And I think that this show reflects that, even though it's literally fairies and sugar apple confections and this very dainty looking thing that's delicate, and a lot of people
Oh
sum
no,
that up to femininity. Like it's still,
they don't play with the misogyny in this show.
Oh yeah,
They were really hard on her, and as you continue watching the show, it's still the same thing. She's living in a time era where women are not accepted as confectionery artists. You know.
Well,
hmm
all the artists that she met along the way definitely gave her credit all the time. They'd be like, "Yeah, but that's just some like old church stuff, or that's some old like folklore story." Like they never undermined her talent, like the actual artists who know her value.
Yeah.
yeah. My
Um.
favorite character as far as like side character goes, not one of the main three cast. It was that last character who pulled up towards the end, who was genuinely, he's like, I don't want to
Pink haired
pressure
man.
her in
I
any.
love the pink-haired guy.
Sorry, I don't know his name. Sorry.
I don't know his name either, but like that one character, he's like, I feel actually threatened, but in a good way, and he's like, I'm still gonna try my best, but I'm also not gonna tell her like the scary news because he's like, I don't want to add any pressure. I want her to be at her full game because this is gonna be actually exciting now that she's in the game, and he was always so supportive of her.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah, I
look up
liked him.
their
He was my
name.
favorite.
Let me look up their names so I can like try to find. But yeah, he was a cutie too. I was like,
hmm
oh, purr.
I know, even Shao got jealous,
That's my
but we'll
man.
get to that towards the end of the show. He kind of showed up towards the end, but yeah, I think I agree. It's a show about crafts, like outside
Oh,
of the
his name's
romance. It's a
Keith.
show about
His name's
craftsmanship.
Keith.
What was it?
Keith. His name's Keith.
Keith. That's simple. But you know what I mean? It's a show about craftsmanship outside of the romance. And when you think about how Shao shows up for her too, it makes it that much more cuter.
Yeah, I love stories that are actually majority not about romance, but they have a really good romance in it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, which I didn't see it taking that direction when the show first started.
yeah. What did you
I
guys
just
think?
was like, this girl's going to town, to go to become a sugar apple confectioner. Oh no, there's bandits on the road. And I thought it was going to be like kind of a series of him saving her several times, which he does. But I like that when she got to that first cabin and it was that man who, was an asshole to her and Jonas about their art that very first night. And he ended up being one of like the people at the place.
Yeah, I don't like him.
I was like, they're not playing. They're actually roasting their art and telling them to get better, which I like the critiques. He was like, you're trying to mimic something, aren't you? Where's your originality? And
Yeah,
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, his
my
critiques
boss
are
is
good, but I
calling.
also thought he was like a really shitty
He
character.
is a shitty person. But
Like
I
he
was saying that the show, the way that's when I knew that they were touching on craftsmanship and that the show was just more than, a girl going to town.
Yeah, when it comes down to his character specifically, I just didn't like how much he lied. He would lie very often, and it really irritated me. Um, like considering he was the what's it called, high something. He was like literally the top confectionery artist in all of the land that this king ruled. And he straight up like didn't tell them that. Like I thought that was hikey rude. And then he had such power over that contest, and I just felt like the way he acted at the end of it was like not right. Did you watch till this part that Kaylin stopped?
Yeah. We've both completed 12 episodes, right, Mariah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like how he acted at the contest, how like he was so hard on her when she clearly won, you know?
Mm-hmm. I always hated, like, and I still do. I feel like I'm just, like, pushing through it. I get lots of anxiety about, like, the sabotage, as well as, like, I hate having to prove my own innocence when I feel like somebody's wrongly accusing me. And when I watch these characters actively lie and actively accuse her, when we, the audience, know that she's telling the truth, it's just stressful to watch.
Yeah, it happens a lot. I think it's kind of annoying, but I still like the
Yeah.
show. What did you guys think
It
about
seems like a fallback for the author's, like, favorite conflict. They're like, let's sabotage the nice girl.
what did you guys think about
Yeah, it
Shao?
got kind of like.
I'm
What'd
sorry.
you say?
Mariah, you first.
Yeah, you
It got kind of like the cycle was going too quickly for me. Like every episode kind of had like the sabotage she recovered thing, and I was like getting annoyed for a little bit at the beginning.
I have a note to make.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of going all over the place. We can go chronological whenever, but like Jonas tried to kill her, and I don't like how casually she treats that. Like she acts like he just tried to like trip her down the hall or stab her in the back, but no, he almost fed her to wolves. He covered her in blood and left her to
The
be
rest
eaten
of the
alive.
rest of the show, I never get over that. I'm like, he literally threw blood and meat on you and tossed some wolves at you, and why are you still being nice to him? Like,
I
Yeah,
know
she
this
just like gives him a dirty look and keeps pushing.
They
like
started
no,
trying to
he
redeem him,
attempted
and I'm like,
murder.
he's a murderer.
He just attempted murder, girl. Like, come on. I don't like how some animes will make the female like main characters so nice that they're that forgiving. Like, come on, author. You literally went to the point where you had Jonas try to kill her. I think Jonas should have been like exempt from the storyline a lot sooner after that. You know?
Yeah, no, and like I said, and if anything, they tried to redeem him with the whole arc about like the dad or the uncle, whoever the fuck it was, and Jonas, like when they try to burn her hand. What was that about? Like I don't know.
That was crazy.
I know these people
What do
are
you mean?
like
That was a bunch
after
of
her.
that was a bunch of men who were misogynistic, and they can't
Yeah.
literally say out loud that she's better than them. So they'd rather literally like hurt her to the extent where she'd never be able to make work again.
Yeah, it was just crazy that was their option. They were like, we will just burn this child's hands.
Yeah, I try to remind myself that this show is set in a fantasy world and also at a different time, and like that barbaric ass shit. Like if you've ever seen Game of Thrones, fucking Joffrey told this one dude who sung a song about his dead dad, you know, in a satire way. He's like, pick your hands or your tongue. And he's like, what? Pick your hands or your tongue, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I watch shit like that, like like fantasy stuff that is set so far back that literally women were treated that badly that it wouldn't be seen as unheard of for men to go out and do something that absurd. So like when I watched the scene, I was like in the time frame of it, and I was like, oh yeah, like men really disregarded women this much in this time era. So it just made more sense to me. But I'm also a Game of Thrones watcher, so I feel like I was already desensitized to several things that happened in that show.
Yeah. And like you said, it's just like those men could not even admit that she was better. And you know what? So they still coveted like the sugar that she made. They were like, if I had that sugar, I'd be a better artist. It kind of reminds me of young artists at the beginning of art school when I watched them stock up on Copic markers and I watched them fucking buy everything that and like and their art is like just not there yet. Like they're still at such a adolescent level, which that does not mean that you can't get art supplies or that you can't practice, but it's not going to be an overnight fix. You got to get that HB pencil and that fucking paper.
I feel like I was that artist. Like I was that artist. I found one medium that I would like, and I'd be like, "Let me go buy it," and I'd buy it.
Buying a medium or experimenting is one thing, but like I think that some people like you and maybe I've been that at times, but I think I've seen other people where they're like they really stock up on shit and then like, you know.
Yeah, there's a spectrum. There's people that kind of like hide behind all that stuff when really their work's like not really showing.
Yeah, it just needs more development, and it doesn't mean that you can't have those nice things, but same thing, you know, with the show, they're like, if I have her sugar, maybe mine will be good. Like, she can't be all that good. It's just the sugar she made.
Yeah, they were always like the ones that were shitty to her were always undermining her. Like more so the hard work it took to get to her work.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
bro, just give me that sugar, I could do it." But what did you guys think about Shao though?
Ooh.
Well, can we start talking about it chronologically?
Well, I wanted to ask what your guys' opinions were of each character before talking about like the story, because I thought
Because
it.
my opinion like changed throughout the show, so I still want to talk about that, but I'll answer your question. I like him a lot, and I think that I don't know. How do I say it? I'm pissed that he's now, in someone else's hand, but I appreciate that he stayed by her and supported her art and her craft. I think that's what makes him a hot boyfriend, not the hot mysterious part, I know that's like y'all's guys' type already, but like he's already in love with her. Like he would tell her in her sleep that he's in love with her. And he went so far as to sell himself back into slavery just so that she could achieve her artwork and her dreams and her goals. So
Sorry, when I watched this anime, my heart was pounding. Like I was like, I'm so in love with this character. I think about him
he
all
got
the
he
time.
got better for me. I think that in the beginning I was just like, ooh, like aesthetically, but I couldn't say that like I was as in love as I am now. Like it grew.
Mm-hmm.
I think his character design was my type. I think he was a little too quiet for my type of man. I'm like, you're giving nothing. I need just a little more. Like, we talk about the mysterious guy. I'm like,
He's
you're
so
like
mysterious. He's telling you in your
nothing.
sleep instead of when you're awake.
Hey, listen,
Like,
it's a
I
slow
like
burn.
the quiet guy in public talks to me all the time in private. He was just like, I was like, I'm waiting for you to give me a little more pizzazz, dude.
It's a slow burn, okay?
I
I
understand.
want more seasons of this show because I feel like with you guys haven't watched season 2, but in season 3, I feel like you'll see so much more of their relationship and maybe like talking more and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't feel like as romantic as I wanted him to be. I get like the gesture that they're hinting at and what's going on with him and Anne and all that, but it wasn't as much as I like wanted it to be.
Mariah like saw it for her.
What?
I saw Kinsey's face. She covered her mouth.
Well, I also you guys didn't watch season 2, and a lot more stuff happens in season 2. Like there was a scene I really wanted you guys to see because it had me running laps. Like I was running laps around my house, and I was like, I can't wait till they watch this. I will pull up that scene when I'm lonely. That's how good that scene is.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I honestly, as soon as we're done with this episode, I might watch them tonight. And I'm probably gonna binge like a lot of it tomorrow and get through as much as I can.
I literally like when I think about this scene, I'm like, oh god, like I can't. I start like sweating, and my head starts getting like
Talking to
full
the
of air.
microphone a little better, Mariah or Kinsey.
I'm sorry, I was like focusing on my like mind palace of being with Shao. Okay, but yeah, I personally. I love his design. I love his weapon. I love the fact that he was born from a stone.
That was cute.
I think that I love his voice. I love his personality. Yeah, he doesn't talk that often, but I'm like one of those people that are like in it for the long haul. Like I could see him talking.
Well, that's because you talk often. You can't have someone who also talks often.
As long as they're listening and they talk like a good amount, I'm good. Like I want to have good conversations. I don't want to be the only person talking, but I also just felt like he was super romantic. I think for me, I like cracking a nut open. I like seeing like, okay, how hard is this nut to crack so I can see when they'll talk to me.
Well, my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, he was giving like this old school romance, because obviously he's like old. So he's not like an old man, but like he's 1,000 years old or whatever.
He's 70
so like
years old.
he's seen some things. He knows what love looks like.
Yeah, and I think that he treats it like that too, because like even when she's kind of asking questions like about like growing up or changing, he talks about like that previous girl, the one who like brought him like stared at a rock and he was born. He talks about how she grew and changed, and he's like, you'll grow and change too. Like that's just what happens.
Just the beef I have with the show. I don't like their relationship in that regard. When I watch this show, I pretend that she's at least 22 years old. And at first, they drew her like really, really like looking 15 years old. And then as the show keeps going, I think it's like her attitude starts to change and she stops being like, I'm 15 years old. I'm an adult. She actually starts acting like a fucking 20-year-old or something. Even then, I would love if they could draw her a little bit more mature because she does look a little young. But I did not like when he would kind of parent her by telling like you'll grow into a beautiful young woman. Like it I'm already sitting here
I
in the
agree,
fantasy
and
element where I'm like, okay, you're 70 years old, and technically, since you don't have the lifespan of a human, so you're not going to age the same way, I'm like down with it because it's not reality. But then when you start acting a little bit too parent like, it
I have a note.
gets me. What?
I have a note. Um, Around the age of 13, 14, and then I watched it all throughout high school. I was watching Inuyasha, and Inuyasha, by the way, is 50 years old, and Kagome is 15. And I know Japan's really weird about their main protagonist always being a young teenager, and even any sort of teenager shouldn't really be placed in adult romantic settings. So I did enjoy that romance for what it is, and I still love it, like, because their love story as two characters are nice. And Inuyasha didn't act like a 50-year-old man. He was literally a demon that's immortal, like doesn't age, doesn't die. Um, but I hope that Japan keeps developing into a state where like why can't we enjoy shows about adults or even old people? Like I don't know, why is it always about children or teenagers? And so I think I would be a hypocrite like with Inuyasha to like judge the show to the point where I wouldn't watch it, but I kind of do like you said rewrite it in my mind
Yeah,
because
but
it's
that's what I
just
said.
the
Mhm.
parental.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't watch it because I told you like in the fantasy aspect I've watched things like that where the guy is like super old because he's immortal and she happens to be young. I think it's the fact that this girl's 15 and then on top of it he's making comments that sound like a father would make once in a
Yeah,
while.
and like she's acting 15 and he's acting older. Like
And I'm like, could y'all just cut that out? Because
we're like, I can't.
and
You're
Yeah, I
making it
mean
hard to ignore.
that's a good point because I was gonna say I have a hard time watching shows like this, and like you said, Kinsey, you were like reimagining it. Like I can't do that. But when I watch Inuyasha, maybe it's because I was so young that I didn't process the fact that he was like supposed to be like so many years old because he did act really immature. So
Oh,
like
he
yeah, when I'm
acted like
watching this
her
one, I
age,
have a hard time
like a
like
boy.
rewriting her as older because I'm like she still looks kind of young, and he talks like he's my grandpa sometimes.
Also, Kagome was not really drawn like a 15-year-old.
Yeah,
Let's be
she
honest.
wasn't. That is true.
she
Like
was
every
drawn
time they
like
say
she
she's
was
15, I'm
17,
like, what?
18. And then like Inuyasha seemed like he was
Yeah.
19 years old, you know?
And she even acted like she was like really more independent, like an adult. So I think that's maybe why my like 14-year-old brain didn't understand.
Yeah, and I agree with Kinsey. I think that like they remind me of like 18 and 19-year-old like couple. Like, and I think the way that they acted, but like you're right when he says stuff like that to Anne, it's like icky. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
hard
just
for me.
try to
Like I'll
ignore
try
it.
to rewire it, like you say, Kinsey, and then something will happen. I'll be like, too far, too
Mhm.
far.
I more so just try to ignore those scenes. Like with anime, I feel like there are so many shows where there'll be like a character is drawn, she looks like she's 23, and they try to
Mhm.
fucking sit here and tell me she's 16, and I'm like, dude, this is annoying. Like, why is there
I
that
think it's just
stupid?
Japan is already a very traditional place and there's lots of things that they need to progress as a country. Like, I mean, I'm not judging them. America's got plenty of vices, but like me being critical, I'm not going to say any place is perfect. Every place has got its problems. And I think that the, fetishization of young women, their age of consent went from, I think, 13 to 15, last I heard. That's still not enough by any means.
Yeah,
Sometimes I don't even think 18 is enough.
I heard Japan has a lot of pedophilia issues.
Yeah.
Pedophilic issues. Sorry, I can't fucking speak today. So yeah, like
I would just like to see it phase out of the anime because I mean it's
Mhm.
enjoyed worldwide and I think that it can shoot a show in the foot if they start focusing on that part too far. But also it's kind of hard because like there's like really great plots and then like maybe some show will fucking add some child character where we're like, why does this child need to be here? And like you find out like, oh, that does better in Japan making money. It's just annoying.
Yeah. But anyways, those are the parts between their relationship that happen kind of few and far in between that I tried to ignore because like Mariah said, he doesn't talk like a whole lot. But when she started acting pretty mature like a few episodes in, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like label you as 20 to 22 years old now and pretend that you were, because first of all, what's a 15-year-old doing traveling across the country? Like that doesn't even add up to me anyway. So I'm gonna move on to the next topic, but the story, like we can start talking about it chronologically now, like the arcs and what you guys thought
Yeah,
about
let's
each
talk about
arc.
that.
So
So can I introduce the world?
yes,
We have the backstory with the dead mom, and she's like fairies, and I'm like, oh, how cute. But then her mom died, and now she wants to be the sugar artist. And then Reki comes out of nowhere and is like, Anne, I want to come with you to town.
Reki.
And she's like, yeah, Reki.
Oh, because it's Reki's voice actor. Okay,
Yeah. Reki came out, and he's like, I want to go with you. This man stalks her, which I kind of, here's the thing, I couldn't tell if they were going to pull the almost like funny best friend / crush, character that is like in the background, like, I will follow you to protect you and I want you to be safe. Like, I can't let you go on your own. You're literally 15. I couldn't tell if they were going to do that or if he was physically which she said multiple times in a very stern, no, stop following me. And I was like, and it was this not overly caring voice about like him still following her. He's like, no, I'm coming.
I
But
don't
it
know
was
what it was, but they showed her body language and her tone so well at the beginning that right from the beginning, I knew she just didn't like him and that she wasn't gonna like him. Like, also
I just
maybe it
couldn't
was,
tell that he was going to be a bad character. I thought, like, okay, man, maybe you should back off. Like, I thought it was weird with how hard she said no, but do you know what the characters I'm talking about? Like,
Jonas. You're talking
think
about
of
Jonas.
a show, and it's like this funny character that maybe has a crush on the main character, but more so it's like they're like a best friend, and they're like,
They're like a
cool,
side
she's
character.
great. Like, yeah, I didn't know they were going to do that with them, but they didn't.
I think
I
for
accidentally
me,
spoiled it for myself.
how'd you
How?
do that?
I opened Crunchyroll and I accidentally hit the comments, and the first comment was, I hate Jonas. He's a horrible person.
Oh, for me, it was his tone. It sounded so like, mommy titty, please, like that right from the beginning. I couldn't even label him as the nice friend that just happened to have a crush on her. I could just like get these like grabby feelings from him. And
The second I met his little fairy, I was like, you're not good.
Oh my
oh
god,
hell
that's
yeah,
such a weird
Mariah.
relationship.
Mariah's like, I don't know how to describe it. You bring her around anyone, she's like a guard dog. Like she knows. She's like, oh, I didn't like that interaction because right when I met that bitch's fairy too, I was like, and then the way he spoke to her, he said, "Turn invisible." I was like,
Oh no, when she did no. I didn't think he was a funny friend at that point. When she showed up and he yelled at her, yeah. I was like, I don't like him. I was talking about the very first, like, Anne, I'm coming with you. I was like, is this gonna be the funny friend? And then
oh,
when he
I
was
know.
like,
I think I just had like I happened to be right that time.
Kinda
I
like
don't
when
always, I don't
you
always guess
Google-
characters right.
it's kind of like when you Google like an old president, like from history, had slaves, and then I'm like, okay, he's canceled, and people are like, but it was normal to have slaves then. No, he's canceled. He had slaves. What do you mean?
Honestly, probably all of them were canceled at this point because like, damn.
Well, was Abraham Lincoln didn't have slaves?
Still had slaves.
Yeah.
He freed
He had
slaves. He
slaves?
still had slaves.
What? But didn't he vote against that shit or like made it
Yeah,
up?
he's the
What?
reason. He's like the reason why slaves got free, quote unquote. He still had slaves.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, dude. Well, Anne had a slave.
The whole
You're
time
not wrong.
the whole time she's like, honestly, bro, just help me out till I get there, and can we be friends? Like,
She's
But
like,
then
I'm
I like
determined for
that
us to be
either.
friends afterwards.
He's like, I can't be friends with a slave owner. That's what he said.
I know. I was just like, girl, stop.
One
I
part
just want to
about
get to
that,
know you.
I will say one thing. I wish, in this part, could just be a little bit rewritten. This is a personal take. You guys can disagree, and I'm opening myself up for you guys to come at me. I think that when she released him as a slave, I did not like how quickly, like, I do like the fact that he's like, okay, now that, you don't own me, we can be friends, because, like, you don't own me. But I don't like how it happened at a moment where she was at such a low where she had no use for him. She had given up. She's like, here's your wing back. Like, I don't need you anymore. And then he's like, okay, we're friends. And, like, he was there for her and supported her, which that's the romance part. But when it comes to, like, the slave part, I wish the author spent, like, one more chapter writing out a more, like, a better way for that to happen. You know what I mean? I wish the transition wasn't so quick.
Yeah, I think he had already determined that he liked her enough to be her friend whenever the timeline was going to happen when she freed him. So I think that's why he was just like, yeah, we can be friends right now, like...
Yeah, definitely
that's
after
why
a
it didn't
couple
feel so
episodes, she
jarring
had
to me.
realized, like, oh, she's different. She's not like the normal humans. She means it. But he was still going to be an asshole to her because that was fun for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna sit here and not mention all the times that he would make her order him around and it was like he was doing it on purpose to
Oh,
be
that
all
was
sexy. Like
some
y'all just
fucking
gonna
fan
gloss over
service.
that? Mariah said he doesn't talk too much. I don't give a shit. The moments he does, I'm running laps.
Oh
I'm
my
running.
gosh.
He's telling me to like degrade him. Like and he's like begging me to. Like I was
I think I
already
was not a
begging,
degradation
demanding.
person. I was like, I don't know if I'd want to yell at him either.
well, I wouldn't want to yell at him. I'm saying the fact that he was saying it the way he was, I was just like dead. I couldn't even respond. I was blushing so hard. Like, why was he
You're
saying
funny.
it like that? Like, I just thought it was nice. But yeah. So Jonas tries to like kill her and shit, and there's constant bullshit of people moving Sugar around and lying and fucking trying to frame Anne. I
And
don't even.
that little horny ass fairy bitch, the invisible one. I hate her ass. Why she want Jonas's pussy anyways? Like, out of all the big people, why Jonas? Second of all, how?
Mariah should like take that clip from this episode and put it on one of the Instagram posts. You know how you can do audio?
Yeah.
I hate her ass. Yeah, no, she was ridiculous. But yeah, so I thought the plot like constantly like basically people lying and stealing her confection
It
bullshit.
caused me anxiety. I think I got a few gray hairs.
Like I don't even want to really talk about that. Let's just
Yeah, the first couple episodes, I felt like the plot was like the arcs were like episode arcs almost, if that makes sense. Like it was kind of the same cycle until we got to. I told Kaylin, I was like, I'm feeling like every episode I know is gonna happen until we got to the castle episodes. That's when it took a turn for me.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna fast forward. They on like episode 3 or 4, they get across the country. She competes and she loses because Jonas
Nobody
was,
wins.
nobody wins, but I'm just saying Jonas fucked her over because he stole her confection as he tried to kill her. And she only had enough to make that little tiny fairy that she made, by the way, when she saw that flower drop some water, which I thought was really cute. The fairy's voice
Oh,
was
she gave
very.
birth to a fairy.
I know
by
the
looking at
fairy's
a
voice
flower
was really
droplet.
fucking annoying, but like she was a cute little fairy. But she made her cute little confection art, still lost, nobody won. So then a year goes by, she's hanging out with
Oh
Shao.
wait, the cute part to that is Shao said, "Well, you know, you're not a sugar confection artist, so I guess I got to stay with you till you become
Yeah.
one."
Yeah, honestly, when he said that, I think it's the way he said it. I wasn't that into it. I was like, all right, let's fast forward. Like,
No, I
I'm
thought
ha-
it was cute because, like, literally, it was his way of saying, like, you promised me a goodie, and I'm not leaving till I get my little sweet treat.
Yeah,
So
he's like, we had a deal, so I'm
it's like
sticking
this
around.
excuse to linger around, and I
like,
thought
I
that was
knew-
cute.
I knew why he did it. I guess it's just like the delivery. I wasn't as like, I wasn't blushing
was.
as hard. I was just like, all right, cool. Let's just keep watching. So you keep watching. The year goes by. Straight up, next episode, they're like, a year's gone by. Okay, damn. Like, fuck. Okay, and they're running around in their carts and all that junk. I don't actually remember the exact plot. I do know the castle part's up next because she's trying to. She gets to study at some sort of like confectionery school that is, by the way, Jonas's like family school. And wait, does that happen after the castle? But she talks to them.
That
though.
happens after the castle.
But doesn't she like come talking to some of the other confectionery artists because that's how she finds out about the castle?
Oh,
'Cause-
she's at that restaurant, and that woman, because she ran into the blonde guy again, and he was like, I gotta fucking Keith or whatever, was like, I gotta stop running into you.
That's not Keith, but I
Not
know what
Keith.
you're
The
talking
blonde guy is something else, like
The
Tim. I don't know his
sassy
name.
one.
I can't remember.
about. Let me look at his name.
that guy that she had looked
The
up
blonde
to.
one was mine. I liked him a lot. I liked how mean he was.
Cat.
Oh,
His name's
shit.
Cat.
Cat, and he was like, I gotta stop running into you. And she
He's like,
goes to
"Stop
that
calling me
restaurant,
Cat."
and they're like, yeah, if you go to the castle and you win, you get a year's worth of training under the king.
I knew Mariah was gonna like Cat. I fucking knew it. But also he's hot. So like,
He
I'm
was
not.
hot, and he would come with his little sass.
I know he's pretty cool though. He had what's it called? He had Riz.
He had Riz. I liked his little fancy shirt. I liked how he said, I only make confectionery art actually for poor people, so get out of my face. And like he would sell his stuff dirt cheap.
Wow.
Yeah, he had a little bit of sass to him. And I like how, like, the second he said his real name, Anne was like, oh, you're famous.
It was the guy that she had looked up to because she was trying
Yep.
to find his job. Yeah.
You wanna know something real
Yep.
funny? Besides
funny?
Cat. She gets to the castle, right? She's like, damn, I could use that. And the whole castle arc happens with that crazy ass Duke. He's crazy as fuck. When I saw that painting of that fairy woman, I was in love. I was in love. I felt like when I was a little kid, and I would tell Kaylin this all the time, how I would watch fantasy movies specifically for where's the token pretty, like, magical woman.
Oh my
That-
god, yeah.
That happens to be usually very, very large, but it's okay if she's small too. And when she pulled up on the screen, I was like, oh my fucking god. I wanted her to come back to life so bad. I was so upset
Mhm.
that she didn't come back to life. I was like, stop. I need to
Bro,
meet this
honestly, when she
woman.
built the statue of her, I was like, she's just gonna appear. I don't know where, but she's gonna appear.
I knew she wasn't.
She should have. Wait, how'd you know she wasn't?
Even if it was her soul or her
Because-
spirit, I think her spirit should have appeared to talk to the man. I would have accepted that.
Yeah.
I agreed with
Yeah.
what Shao said about death. It's like death doesn't. I get what you're saying. Like even if it's like some Attack on Titan ghost shit, but like Shao was saying how death is like final, and like I'm sure that we're gonna hear more about his backstory with this other girl from his past, and I mean
Well,
obviously she's
she
dead,
wasn't
so
a
I'm sure he
fairy.
has.
She wasn't a fairy, so
Bro, I don't care. He said it, and but I'm just saying that like that is how death works. So
well, shut up, because sometimes things can come to life from confectionery treats. So just so you know. Anyways,
or alchemy,
Are
though it
we
is taboo.
but like when they were at the castle, they were doing tons of romantic shit left and right, you know? Shao
Oh my
caught her.
god.
Shao
When you
caught
get
her.
close to her, or brush her like hair out of her face or some shit, or like I don't know.
fucking
I was
sniff
like, bro, why are
her.
you getting so close?
He sniffed her. I was like, oh my god, like
I think that the reason why at first, because I didn't really like get the romance vibe until towards the end of the castle arc. I think the reason why I was having such a hard time with the romance is because he talks so heavily about this past lover, and I was like,
It's
I
not
can't
so
imagine you're
lovely.
like
It talks
comparing each
she
of them,
existed.
like maybe to an extent, but like I don't know, it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, do you really like Anne if you like are still in love with this past girl? Like, I don't know. It just like there was a disconnect in my brain for a while.
yeah, I
Come
felt
on,
very
man. You've
jealous
seen
as well.
Inuyasha. We're not gonna get all over
You
this
seen
dead girl topic.
Inuyasha? You seen Inuyasha, dude?
I know, but
I was
I
fucked
feel
up.
like it was known from the beginning versus Inuyasha. I didn't. Am I wrong? Am I misremembering Inuyasha? Like it wasn't known from the jump.
The thing is he found out Kikyo. Okay, hold on. I'll say it quick. He found out Kikyo died, but he still hated Kikyo because he thought Kikyo killed him, but Kikyo thought that Inuyasha killed him. Okay? Got that out of the way. Kikyo comes back to life, and she's like, Inuyasha, you motherfucker, you killed me. And he's like, no, you killed me. They find out it was Naraku. So now he's, like, having conflicting feelings because he was so in love with her. So he thought that she betrayed him, but now he's got a thing for Kagome, but he still kind of has a thing for Kikyo from his past feelings because he's like, this girl that I fell in love with, like, literally said I was going to marry and, like, live a mortal life with her.
Well, you know what? I was 14 when I watched Inuyasha. I'm an adult now, and I feel like there's a disconnect.
But it was because they were the same soul. It wasn't that he was being a cheating bitch. It's because
Yeah.
Kagome has the same soul as Kikyo, and he was in love with both of the souls, so it wasn't like he was cheating. He just couldn't choose.
Yeah. So
He's
when I
like-
was watching
Well, how do you know-
Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, it felt more like he felt obligated to care and take care of her, not that he loved her the same ways he loved
Well,
this previous
How do you
girl.
know
Does that
they
make
don't have the
sense?
same- How do you know they don't have the same soul?
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with that. You're right. I don't know anything about these girls in
Yeah, we don't
Sugar
know
Apple Fairy. I'm just saying that's where I think the disconnect felt. While I'm watching this, it felt like he had more of an obligation or a care because he saw so much of this old girl in her. Not that he was like in love with her. It felt different. It felt like
I
a
don't
different
have
type
enough
of love.
in his mind to make an opinion, but I mean, all those, they're. I can see why you would come to those. I need proof. I'm like, what's going on in his brain? Is it, the soul thing? Or, is it just that he has fallen in love again? Like,
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm
Wow.
not saying the romance wasn't there. It just felt like a different type of love
Mhm.
than like a typical romance.
he does seem like the type to know that death is final, and I don't know about this past. I mean, I'm sure we'll learn more, but maybe he's just open to, like, loving again. Maybe.
Maybe. So yeah, Castle Arc, that was crazy. That woman wanted her to come back to life. She was so fine. Then she wins, clearly. She starts studying at that bitch ass place. They try to burn her hands because they're jealous.
Bro, that place was crazy. That was physical labor. I was like, I don't even understand what they're doing. Why are they making it mass production? I watched Anne slave for 3 nights to make this shit, and y'all got big ass pots the size of my house.
And then I start watching Shao. He's getting sad because he sees that the other guy, Keith, and her are laughing and stuff, and he's like, "Aw, sad." And then the one girl gets sad because she thinks that the girl hugged Shao and that it was mutual, but
Oh, that scene was
kinda forced them.
crazy.
I
That
was like,
scene was crazy.
Hold on,
I
let's
was like,
back
I
up.
see
What
them
did you
trying to
just
force
say?
the miscommunication.
What did you just say?
She's
Me?
talking about that crazy girl who was like,
So
"Shall let me buy you because
Anne
I'm
was
not really in love."
Anne
That
was
scene was
looking.
insane.
Hold on, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Anne was looking out the window, and this girl's like, "I'm so in love with you. If you're not owned, come live with me." And he's like, "You're shameless. You're such a whore." Like,
Bridget.
he's like, "You wouldn't throw
Well, at
yourself on
first she
someone like
played it
that."
off like she just wanted to buy him. She was like, "I want to buy you and treat you better than Anne's treating you because Anne's overworking you." And then he was like, "I am not owned." And then she was like, "Oh, even better. I don't want to treat you like a pet. Actually, I'm in love with you. Let me buy you because I love you." She's a liar.
Well, then he called her out. He's like, "You wouldn't just throw yourself at a human man like this." He's like, "You're throwing it at me because you think I'm a whore, and you are shameless. You're a horrible person."
You're actually a whore and a horrible
And he
person.
said, "If you want me, you're gonna have to come and take my wing from me." But come
That
on,
was
man.
crazy.
I said that they
That was
wouldn't
crazy.
do that. And then when I saw that kiss scene, I was like, "They did it. They really did write that. It happened."
Straight up, she was like, I need this man. She like, as a human, still finds herself better than fairy race. So when he said that to her with his whole chest, she's like, fine, I will take your wing. And that's why she got all that gump to fucking get up.
And I was kind of annoyed because like Shao was not giving her enough credit. I was like, "Did you not hear what they just said? She's not only one doing it. Like other people, she asked other people to help find your wing." And he was like, "I am not concerned with her." And I'm like, "Okay, but like what about the other people she's paying to get your wing, dude?"
I think had they not yeah, I mean, they couldn't have come and take it from him. They couldn't have, but I think that he underestimates, like, for example, Anne got in a situation where her hand almost burned. Like, he needs to be careful because I know that he'd do anything for her, so he needs to be careful because if she gets in a pickle, like, what if they put a gun to her head and they were like, "Give us the wing"? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
He'd be pretty dumb. He's strong, but he's not that smart.
Or he's stubborn like a Taurus.
He's like, oh no, you can't outwit me. And then they do, and he's like, oh no. What about
Yeah,
hand-to-hand
maybe
combat?
the author needs to just get a little smarter because then maybe the, scenes would be a little more complex. Reminds me of if I were to write. Like, I wish I could write more complexly.
Well, more so, I think what it is Shao is so strong that he underestimates when he's talking to somebody that they will take their other strengths out, which is not physical strength, and they'll use it against him. And he
I
honestly
know.
had gotten himself into so many issues because he was that, he was underestimating people too much.
Yeah, and this is definitely that character. I got so sad towards the end. Like, this final little arc. Like, first of all, this bitch was literally after Anne's man. And, like, the way that she let them even say goodbye, it was like this weird, like, I own you, but, like, I actually want to, like, fuck you and have, like, a good, hot, like, time. So I'll let you go say bye to your little girl. It was so weird.
Where's Maya?
She had to go pee.
Right at the best part?
Shao is getting assaulted right now.
No, I mean, Caitlin, I'm saying I cried. I cried when
You need to take my Snapchat that seriously. I haven't reacted to an anime like that in a while, and you were making fun of my faces. They weren't enough, apparently.
I cried during the scene. I thought
Kinsey,
it was
that was a
so,
lot for me.
He did the fact that he gave away his freedom because he cares about Anne that much. I was crying. He hates being sold into I mean, not that any fairy likes it, but I'm just saying, like, obviously you can look at Jonas's fairy and
He
she's cool with it.
despised it.
He despised being a slave, and he literally sold himself back into slavery just so that Anne could win because this is the last time she's going to be allowed to compete. And on top of it, being forced to be with another woman. Not even like just being told to kill people.
No,
like,
Kinsey,
he was prostituting himself out for the love of his life.
my heart was so fucking fuzzy and, like, it felt like clenched and, like, burned. I was literally physically having a reaction. And I had tears in my eyes. I was like, you couldn't hear because I had the headphones on. I was hearing everything in my ear, so it was that much more intense. But I was having a full autistic moment. I was sending you snaps like, "Are you serious?" Like, you know. Right,
I
you
tell
weren't at
you,
that.
I
You
wanted to
weren't at that
burn.
episode yet, so that's why I sent it just to
I
her.
wanted to burn Bridget
Okay.
alive. Like I was so livid at that bitch. I was like, I can't believe you would stoop so low. You didn't steal
Was
his
it that
wing.
night when you snapped us about your reaction where you were like, guys, I'm so angry with this show, and you're like, I can't even keep watching. You're like, this is a good part to leave off on because you had watched for so long.
Well, that's why I kind of wanted you guys to watch past it because like when I watched that scene, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna move forward. Like, holy shit, that was like the lowest blow that bitch could do. And he hugs her.
No, it was.
He
She's
said
assaulting him.
I didn't want to let go. He said I don't want to let go. And then he walked. I was like,
That was, yeah. No, when he said that, I wanted to fucking like ball. I sent Kinsey this really intense reaction. For me, I had headphones in, so she couldn't hear what was being said, and I wasn't being very loud because I was trying to hear my own head because I had headphones on. But I was reacting probably bigger than you guys have seen me react in a while, and she was just like, she sent a Snapchat back making fun of me. It wasn't enough for her.
I went.
Oh my gosh.
It was not that. Kinsey, you got to give me credit.
She did look. She was staring at the same spot the entire video. Like she was like focused very hard. I feel like they rev up that scene so perfectly. Like the sun setting and everything's glowing, and during like a
Just
scene,
one.
during a scene where you would think something very good is about to happen, like a kiss or something, he's like, "Goodbye. I basically sold myself so that you could win," and then has to walk away. I was like, "Oh hell nah!" I was like, I can't do this. I went to bed very upset that night.
I would have try to steal his wing back. I would kill that bitch.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'll burn her alive. I don't care.
Yeah, but Anne's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, she
Well,
literally
yeah,
didn't
that's
care
why
when
when we
Jonas tried
watch
to
it,
kill.
we're gonna see
She
how it
said, "I'll
unfolds.
earn you back respectfully." She's better than I am. She's better than I am. I would have snuck in
Well,
that
no, when
house.
I finished it and called Kinsey, I said, "Shallow's getting raped." Like, I don't mean to like use such a triggering word, but that's what's happening.
I hate that bitch, Bridget. But side story, I wanted to mention. I should have mentioned right from the beginning. The art style of this show is so good. I'm just gonna steal it. I look at it and I just feel sparkles. I just feel like Jolly Ranchers, like the way they taste. I feel it, and like Starburst. Like I don't know how to put my fucking finger on it. The colors they use, the way they draw the characters' eyes, and like the shading.
Feel like an artist, man.
Eyes are nice. The eyes are nice.
Steal like an artist.
The worst part is, I thought Bridget was such a cutie. I was like, I can't believe you turned out to be a bitch because you're a cutie.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I liked the style. I thought it was really cute. It was like a mix of like old school anime, not old school, but you know what I mean, like older anime, but still like had its own twist to it, and I liked it.
Oh my god, it reminds me of the most glitzy manga covers that have like you said, Kinsey, it has like this like candy, like I could taste it, like
Yes.
to it.
Bro, I swear to God,
And-
just watching this style of anime heals me. I could be in such a fucking bad mood. You put on that quality of art, like
They had watercolor. The lines were really nice, and the animation was really good for it being as detailed as it was. And I liked how they would jump. They would jump between hyper super detailed, which would remind me of those fucking glitzy ass, sparkly, dusty, pretty like sparkle dust anime manga covers, and then for their more intense scene, it would become a bit more cell, which I understand. You gotta like, but the drawing quality never went down. The drawings would stay consistently good. It's just like they would obviously switch up.
yeah, they weren't like Naruto animation stills where you pull up a photo of Naruto and he's like, like looking all fucking funny. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the end of the show. So like, I guess you guys can give me your overall review. Did you like it?
Well, I'll talk about my overall review about Shao, like all the way through it is, in the beginning, I was like, mysterious, but sexy, because he's like just demanding her to order him around. And then, he saves her. That's always a plus for me when it comes to the mysterious type. And he stays with her, and he supports her art, encourages her to keep pursuing her dream, supports her pursuing the dream, and then when she doesn't get quite there, he says that he says he will stay by her side until she gets it. And then We watch them with this whole journey, and I love that he loves her. I mean, take out the 15 part. She's not 15. Like, he already knows he loves her. He's said it to himself. This isn't something that he's still discovering or learning about her. Like, he's in love with her, and he knows it. I think that it's also this cute, like, he knows that she loves him back, but obviously it's something that she's discovering and, like, working through her feelings about. And so I think it's almost like this lying patient man, or not lying isn't lying, but he's lying in wait patiently, watching her just kind of discover her feelings about it. And it's so sweet when, like, I don't know, she's literally sleeping and he's like, I love you.
That's what I want.
And then he sacrifices himself. Literally, like you said, sells himself back into slavery just so she gets her dream. And he says, I didn't want to let go. And I was like, well, thanks. Thanks for giving me this and then ripping it away. Thank you. That's my review.
That's my review. You got all sad at the end.
Well, I'm sure that next week it'll get better. Because, I mean,
yeah,
I can't see why Kinsey would want me to watch a show that would make me sad again.
That would make me sad again.
I mean, I made you guys watch Vampire in the Garden, so that ended just sad.
No, I hated that ending. It was good, but I hated it. I was just like,
so unnecessary. Just let them be happy together forever.
It was so unnecessary.
Gay people can't be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, especially whenever I see lesbian things.
All the lesbian stuff is always not happy.
We ain't got no Yuri on Ice for the lesbians.
Nope. And the thing is quality, because you know, I'm sure if you try to find something with a happier ending, it's probably porn.
I'm gonna be honest, Kinsey, I wasn't sold on the show to like the last 3 episodes. I was like, it's a good show, but I'm not loving it. And I think what it is for me, like, I just like shows that keep me on the edge of my seat after the episodes. And since a lot of the episodes at the beginning were like one arc, I was like, what's the point of hitting next episode? I got my answer.
Maybe it's because that year went by so quickly in a few episodes that, like, he knew he loved her and she's growing love for him. So obviously, like, we see a lot of that finishing up of, like, getting to knowing each other all kind of right before those 3 episodes happen. Like, we start seeing confirmation about this love, but you don't get to see it necessarily happen for that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, just like the arcs were so like smaller at the beginning. So I was like, you're not keeping me on my edge. And then when I got closer, and I think it's just like a personal thing, like I just don't usually watch like feel good stuff. So I was like, give me the suspense, give me the what's gonna happen next. So then I had to wait for it to like build more more into the story, where I was like I said, when the castle scene episode, I was like, okay, I'm ready. This is getting intense now. It's building up.
I think for me, I literally have 2 modes. It's either incredibly like distressing dystopian anime mode, or it's like slice of life. I love these characters so much, I don't even care how minimal the plot is, I'm going to watch this. And for me, I was sold after he was like flirting with her and kind of teasing her with her. I was like, I don't care what this plot is, I don't care how good of an artist she is.
See, I'm like an angsty person. I'm like, give me the angst, give me the build up with the romance.
I'm like, well, for me, I thought it was enough of a build up. Like, I didn't need like intense suspense to invest in the romance. I think I liked their chemistry so much as a couple that I was like, I don't mind. Like, I'm gonna watch it, you know? And season 2 has really, really good moments with them too, like flirting and having intensity. So
yeah, I'm glad like the romance is more obviously. Like I said at the beginning, I wasn't sure. Like, I knew it was romance because you told me, but from like watching it, I was like, is it romance, or is he just like cares for her because he reminds her, or she reminds him of someone? And then I saw the romance starting to appear. I was like, okay, I see it now.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned me through a lift pod.
Oh my god, let me tell you, this motherfucker, every time he was on the screen, he made it a point to be known. He was like, Kinsey. This little guy, and he was like, my name.
My name.
He was so adamant, and he was so cute. Him and the other guy's little fairy, Benjamin. I loved them.
Oh,
I want one that sits on my shoulder.
Benjamin is so cute.
I want a Benjamin.
And me throw a lid pot was like, hey there, and like Benjamin's like, like he's, I know, like,
that time that Jonas tried to sabotage her a second time, where he was like about to kill me through a lith pot. He's like, you tell Shal to go.
I was scared. I thought they were gonna kill him.
Me through a lith pot was straight up like,
Mithril showed up and he said, Cal, it turns out everything was a lie, and we never want you to leave. You're a dumbass for not like staying. Like, how could you not see through that obvious lie? You know.
He is so useful and such a cute little, like, he's supposed to be like the funny side character guy. He's good. I appreciate him.
At
is
first,
good.
the first 2 appearances of him, I hated him. But then as I kept watching the show, I was like, I really like him for who he is, and he'd make me laugh a lot. I liked how he didn't give a fuck about humans. He's like, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Dude, you're about yay big and no one respects you. And he was like, I know who I am and what I'm worth.
yeah,
I
he was
know.
like, I want to know if they can reattach their wing. That's what I want to know. Because
I was imagining that they could, if they were given their wing, that they could reattach it. But also, he didn't reattach his, and he had it on him.
my guess is that they cannot.
That's sad.
Yeah.
So they just can never fly again.
The way Mariah said it. So they just can never fly again.
I don't think that's fair.
I
No.
think the
I want
royal
to see
one.
fairies flying too. I want to see that.
I think the royal one that tasted and sugar at the end. It was like, same sugar, quality, this one's shit. He reminded me of Ice Bear.
Oh, I don't remember his personality that well.
He's just like that. He was a very light color all over, but he just walked up. They're like, "Do you have a fairy you trust?" And I was like, "Oh, interesting." And like, it was just this very like almost like mannequin looking fucking fairy come out and taste her sugar.
I'm so obsessed with this fairy universe that I want to see so many other fairy designs. Like, I actually want to see more of the fairies themselves. Like, is there like a group of fairies that have their wings and like aren't enslaved, or like, can I see some like what's it called,
Mommy fairies.
flashbacks?
Oh,
Can
sorry.
I see some flashbacks of before they were conquered, and like what was it like, you know?
Well, the new fairies that are born, they are born with both their wings. So I would imagine that there's a community of fairies that all have both their wings.
I like.
I know, I just wanna see more about the fairies
that new
themselves.
fairy.
I
He's
agree.
like, "Hey, Dip fairy, this is a world where we're slaves, so you better run away." And she's like, "Oh, okay, bye."
I know. I was like, damn. I want to eat his wings.
Me too.
I also liked when they went to that chapel and he gave the whole backstory of the Fairy Human War.
Yeah, but he
That
was in a
was
shitty
cool.
mood because he was jealous of Keith.
My guess is that the fairy king and the other king were actually lovers.
Oh yeah, they were gay. They totally insinuated that. I'm so glad you brought that up because I thought that. I was like,
I think they're gay
yay.
and that they're men and that
I
they're
think
gay.
they're really gay.
I agree.
It's canon.
And I think maybe one of them like either cheated on the other one or like disrespected them in some way, and then a war started because of it.
I think this author needs to take a few more writing classes because they just need they got good concept for world building and they set up good characters, but like they need to learn about plot a bit more, dragging things out. They need to learn better suspense other than anxiety. I don't like anxiety only. Like they just need to go take a few more writing classes because then I feel like we'd have a lot more interesting stuff to talk
Just
about.
watch season 2, okay?
Okay,
Just
maybe
watch
do a
season
writing
2.
class and then do season 2.
It's season 1. It's the second half of season 1.
Season 1, part 2, Kinsey.
Just shut up and watch it. Did you watch it? No.
I just wanted our listeners to know that there was not a season 2.
Shut up. It's basically like season 2.
That's true, Kinsey. The listeners might get mad.
They're
Okay.
gonna be like, "Where's this season 2 that Miss Kinsey's talking about? It's not on here."
I say Miss Kinsey told you just to keep watching after that arc, dum-dums.
Yeah, but then they were like, "Well, I already watched season 1 and I don't see it."
And I don't see a season 2. Season 1's done.
I'm
Where's
gonna say,
season
Like,
2?
why don't you get
post-credit
busy?
depression is
Why don't
spreading
you get a
false
job
info.
and get busy instead of talking to me?
No, you're not, because there are loyal listeners.
What if they have a job, Kinsey?
I'm gonna say, obviously, it doesn't take up enough of your time to be
And they're not
bothering
going to
me.
give us any money with their job money because you're being mean.
Obviously, it doesn't take up enough of your time for you to be bitching at me.
Anyways, I'm happy you guys watched it. I'm sorry you didn't like it as much as I did.
I like
Okay, it was still
Kinsey.
good.
You know what? Mariah has haiku, you know?
Mariah has haiku. I'll just banish her to a closet with
What do
haiku
I
stuff.
have? Name something I have.
It's
I'm
still good.
Australian. I
It's
have
just
Warhammer,
like
Magic.
when you like have like, you know, your preference. But I just don't I don't preference like romance stuff. That's all.
I think
You
it's
don't
just one of those
preference Magic the
autistic
Gathering.
things. I think it's one of those autistic things that, like, when I find something I really, really like, it's not I'm not using this word in a big way. It can sometimes be disappointing if somebody's not as obsessed with it as me. But
Oh yeah, it's like when I wanted you to watch Given, and you were like, "This character's boring." I was like,
I know I can't get into Given at all. Like I don't like it. But yeah, you see what I'm saying is like when there's something I'm like viscerally crazy about, and maybe somebody else likes it, but they don't like it as much. I'm like,
But here's my thing. Here's
can't
my
win 'em
only
all.
gripe with
we
you.
can't win them all. You
it
know.
was so good though, and I
Here's
still
my only
obviously
gripe
Shao
with
is
you,
still
Kenzie.
like that type of man. Like his drawing, I'm like, yeah, that's him. Put him in the closet with everyone else.
No, let's say Kenzie didn't exist in my life, okay?
Only because I'm dating a
hold on.
woman. Put him in the closet with all the other men.
I have a gripe. Kenzie, I'm gonna take you. Let's say I have a cork board and you're a pin in the port. Let's take the pin out for a minute and put it on the table. Let's pretend Kenzie's not in my life, and let's say I still found this anime and watched it. I would have said, "Wow, I really liked that. That was good," and so I would like it. But because you're in the picture and you like it so viscerally and intensely, because it's not as visceral or intense, see, then it makes it seem like I don't like it. But that's not
No,
it.
I'm not saying you guys don't like it. I'm just saying that I'm viscerally obsessed with it. Like
Yes.
when a
I just
Shao
don't want to. Yeah,
when a
I don't want it to
Shao
seem like I
edit
don't like it.
would come on my TikTok, I was like, oh my fucking god! Like I'm just like, this is amazing.
Kenzie was like she was like, this is for privacy.
Yeah, I was.
The one good thing about Kenzie staying on TikTok is it kept us
Yeah.
updated.
Well, I've seen that the anime since February on TikTok. I've seen it, and I've been like, I gotta get around to watching that because I saw romantic clips. And then I finally, obviously, needed to get my mind off of whatever the fuck I was crying about that one night, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull it up. And it was so good. It left me so much in a chokehold that I needed to watch another romance anime just to like live off the ends of that high. And then I watched Kimi ni Todoki, which is really
Oh my
fucking
God.
good, and we will be reviewing that one as well.
I'm excited. I love our podcast arc of romance animes, like the Tomo-chan and this, and then I don't know, it's cute.
Yeah, it's basically what I watch when I get really, really worried about the future.
It's very healing too. I feel like it's nice to just watch something that isn't a whole ass plot, you know what I mean? A whole ass fucking series for us to get through.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Can I watch something that I'm getting good laughs from? Like Skate. But maybe it's not like dystopian.
Yeah. Just to sit and enjoy a simple show. It doesn't always have to be something depth or crazy or lore.
Mm-hmm.
So to add to your guys' lists of things to get me, we already know Raiden Shogun is, mommy. It's always safe to give me a Raiden Shogun thing or a Kaching thing. Well, now Sugar Apple Fairy Tale's literally up there. Like top
So
5.
if I get you a Jonas pin or the little girl, the little fairy girl, or even Mithril Lithpod, will you be happy and satisfied?
As long as it's not Jonas, the other two were fine. But really, I would like anything with Shao on it or the dead hot lady wife. The fairy one.
Oh yeah, she is dead.
Or
What if I get you
anything
Bridget?
anything with Anne on it too. I think she's such a cute design.
Imagine if I get you a Bridget Standy and somebody points at it like, oh my god, that's a very pretty anime girl, and you're like, she's a slave owner and she rapes people.
A fucking waste, because a Bridget like little pin of her face is like having like Rosalina. Like she's really pretty. She's like a really pretty blonde, but damn, like I can't get behind it now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Dang, well, we'll be back next week to talk about the rest of the show.
Oh really? Oh okay.
That's what I was told. I was
Alright.
told we were skipping me and Kaylin.
No, we're not skipping me and you. We're just letting Kenzie go first.
Oh
Yes, both of those things can exist at the same time.
I guess if you look at it like a lunch line, sure. I just thought it was like Kenzie's ahead of us and we're letting her do 2 transactions, you know what I mean? I didn't see it as her going back at the end of the line and then skipping us again. I just was like, yeah, sure, you can hang out again.
wait, what if we were at the store and I bought something and you guys like, get back in the line. Back in line. I get back in the line and you're like, all right, come back.
We're like,
come
well, I
back."
forgot to buy this chocolate bar. And we're like, in the back of the line.
Well,
So then
like,
I go to
this
the back
is
of the
more
line
like,
and then Mariah's like, okay, you can come back up now.
no, it's more like, let's say the chocolate bar was $1, but the cashier's like, you have to, we only can do 50 cents in this transaction. And you're like, okay, so you break the candy bar in half, you pay your 50 cents, And then instead of making you get back in line to go through the line again, we're just like, okay, you can buy the other one now. I don't know why they only accept 50 cents at a time, but like, go ahead.
Thank God.
It's
Wow.
okay.
Well, shit, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it next week then. We'll see what you guys think of the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's one scene that I know Mariah's gonna
Oh.
like, and that's it.
Oh my
I don't know if
God,
she'll like the
asshole.
other ones.
Colin just beat on both of the windows. By the way, Mariah's in my office. That's actually a funner fact than any of the facts. I'm in my bedroom.
Well, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.